Welcome, dear listeners, to the first episode of your new favorite podcast, Breakthrough to Better. I'm your host, Busy Babe. I'm here to guide you on this journey towards personal growth. And today we're diving deep into a transformative topic. So it's going to be the power of better thoughts. As we navigate through life's highs and lows, our thoughts play a crucial role in shaping our perspectives, attitudes, and ultimately our outcomes. So buckle up and prepare to embark on a mental voyage, a journey to unlock the power of positive thinking and reshape your reality, all by harnessing the power of your mind. So let's get started on this exciting journey, only on Breakthrough to Better. By the way, we are doing a giveaway raffle every week, starting next week for those that leave reviews and comments below. This week's giveaway is brought to you by Layer Jewelry, affordable, stylish, quality pieces that let you express your unique style. This week's winner is getting a piece of their choice. Hello, busy babes. Welcome to today's podcast. As I said in the intro, we are going to be talking about the power of positive thinking and a little bit about the power of better thoughts. Right? And I think it's something that I've definitely learned over the years is that your thoughts determine so much of your life. There is not a thought that goes by in your head that isn't categorized and put into your brain for some other rainy day, right? And not all of your thoughts are true. And I think that's where we sort of slip up some days. We think that if I think it, it must be true. And a lot of times our brain is, negatively skewed, I should say, to go negative. And it is an uphill battle every single day to be positive, to be abnormal, if you will. And while it is sad that our normal is negative, it doesn't mean that positivity can't be done. It doesn't mean that positivity isn't a choice, and it doesn't mean that positivity is impossible. All it means is that you have to be intentional with your thoughts. And, your thoughts will create beliefs. You have belief systems, whether you realize it or not, you're being programmed by something, whether it's the media you listen to, the news, the people you hang out with, the people at your job. Someone is trying to program you into buying what they're selling. And it doesn't have to be a physical or digital thing that they're selling. It could just be a belief system that they're trying to sell to you. Like, buy this and you'll be more desired by your partner. Go on this diet and you'll be a lot happier in life. There's a lot of messages that are coming at you from every different angle. And those messages are creating thoughts in your head. And those thoughts are creating beliefs and belief systems. And those belief systems are causing you to act and feel. And those actions are usually fueled by those feelings. And we have to be intentional and take a good look at what our thoughts are. Take a good look at what we feel when we think those thoughts. And then realize, is this in my favor? Or is this something that is hurting me? Is this a productive thought? Now, I'm not saying you can't have thoughts like, I wonder what that cat is doing across the street, because no one's going to take that thought and think like, oh yeah, that's productive. Unless you lost your cat. But what I mean by productive is, does it empower you or does it disempower you? And a lot of times when we make mistakes, the first thing we do is we say, oh, I suck, or I'm the worst, or I'm such a loser, or I could probably come up with even more examples, but I won't, because I don't like to give power to those thoughts. I don't like to put them out there. The more time the brain hears it, the more it believes it, right? But I do believe that if we have the intention to look at those thoughts and see what feelings are corresponding to those thoughts, we can figure out which thoughts are empowering us to move forward and to grow as people and to live a happier, healthier life. And then we can take a step back and say, okay, these are the thoughts that are helping me. These are the thoughts that are hurting me. Obviously, I want to try to get rid of all the thoughts that are hurting me. We say sometimes in trainings that I'm in, if you feel or you think a negative thought, immediately afterwards, or especially if you say it out loud, you want to go cancel, 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 cancel. I don't know why it's 5 times. I don't know why, but if you say it 5 times, it definitely helps you. I think it might be a ratio of the amount of negativity to positive of canceling out a negative. So if you say one thought that is negative, you have to follow it up with 5 positive thoughts. You know what? Might as well make it 7, right? Might as well up the dose. But I think intentionality is very, very important when it comes to our thoughts, because if we don't weed that garden ourselves, it will go rampant and wild, and it will grow not pretty things. There will be thorns in there, there will be weeds in there, there will be, parasites. Like, your mind is a garden and you must tend to it. And when you're not tending to it, that's when, as they say, the devil wins. And I think that we can control what we can control, which is, what we let into our brain and which thoughts we give more time to. And when we are more intentional with that, we can actually change our actions. And when we change our actions, we can change our life. And if you look at someone who, let's say you have 2 students, and they are the same exact person. Basically, they go into school, and one is branded as the bad kid. Everybody thinks he's a bad kid. There's a other student who everyone thinks is the golden child. He's the good kid. He doesn't do anything wrong. He always gets good grades. He has great aspirations, great potential. People think he's going to be a great thing or a great person, when they grow up, right? And impact the world in big ways. And so people will treat you how they perceive you. And people around you may perceive you as the bad kid because of the things that have happened in the past. And people may perceive you as the good kid because that's how you've been in the past. That's how you've always presented yourself. But that's not permanent. And someone's perception of you does not mean that that is who you are anyway. But perception does definitely paint a picture in your mind of how you're expected to act. So if a bad kid comes to school and they don't want to be bad anymore and they start cleaning up their act and trying to be a good kid, people will look at them like they're crazy. What are you doing? You're a bad kid. There must be something wrong here. You must be wrong. Is this a joke? What am I missing? And so if that kid hears that enough times, he's not going to bother being good anymore. And he's going to say, well, why bother? People think I'm the bad kid. I might as well keep it that identity. On the other hand, if you were the good kid and one day decided, you know what, enough's enough. I'm kind of sick and tired of being good. I want to be bad. And you act up. And everyone around you will say, well, what's wrong with you? You're the good kid. There must be something going on here. How can we help you? And they say, well, you're right. I am a good kid. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm going to go back to being good. And we keep perpetuating this perspective onto people, and they keep acting in the way that we treat them. And it is very, very, very hard to break out of that mold if you stay in that environment, in that situation, in that network. And that's where positive thinking comes into play. The only way that you're going to break through that, the only way that you're going to survive all of that and come out better is if you're intentional about your thoughts, because your thoughts matter. And if you can change your thoughts, you can change your beliefs. If you change your beliefs, you can change your actions. If you change your actions, you can change your life. And then maybe you don't have to stay anymore in that environment where people are expecting a certain something of you. Maybe you have the strength to leave and go off and make your own path and improve your life and leave a positive impact. There are tons and tons and tons of examples of people who are considered very successful right now in the present day. But if you saw them when they were growing up, you would never think that they would end up that way. There are many, many, many cases of successful people who have been through so much heartache and so much abuse, so much trauma, so much hurt as children. And if they kept believing that's just who I am, that's just what life is, that's just what happens to me, they never would have changed into the person they are today, and we would never be a better off place because of it. And I always say, in all of my lives, when we get better, the world gets better. And I think that definitely applies here, because when we improve our thoughts and improve our beliefs and improve our actions, we can influence other people to do the same. People will be inspired by your story. People will see you come out of the environment that you're in and rise above, and they will think to themselves, I want to do that too. And maybe you'll be able to have a conversation with that person. Maybe you'll inspire that person to take their own action. It doesn't matter either way. You've changed a life just by changing your own. And I think that we belittle the individual changes that we can make because we don't think that one person can change the world. But in order for us to change the world, we have to change ourselves first. That's where it begins. I know you've heard that somewhere from some book, some speaker, some mentor, some history book. But it's very true. And just because something is a cliche doesn't mean it isn't true. So I think that we all just need to get a little bit better each and every day. You're not going to wake up tomorrow morning with a perfect mindset and you're never going to, think another negative thought for the rest of your life. That's not how life is. Life is negative. Life is positive. Life is balance. And unfortunately, negatives require more positives. But again, that's not to say we can't do that intentionally. So, for all of you out there, I believe that we have the power to change the world through the power of positive thinking. Be careful what you say to yourself, especially when you're listening. Be careful what you say to others, because they will think about it if they're open to what you have to say. And be careful with how you talk to yourself, because your brain can't tell the difference between what is a lie and what is the truth. And if you're going to lie to yourself, at least tell yourself good things. Some people may call that delusion. If you're in a bunch of debt and you keep telling yourself, I'm a millionaire. It has its place of time. But I wouldn't spend $1 million if you don't have it. Don't go that far. But we need to first speak our identity into existence before we can step into that identity. So if you see yourself, your best self, as someone who attracts money, who succeeds in their businesses, who loves blindly, who takes care of people, who gives and gives and gives, if you see yourself as a prosperous person, as a leader, as a friend, a daughter, a sister, a mother who gives their all, you have to first believe that you are that person before you'll ever step into that identity. And that starts with your thoughts. So when people say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yes and no. Your own words that you tell yourself have the power to hurt you if you let them get that far, if you're not intentional about your thoughts. But other people's words, you also have the power to give power to those words or take it away. That's something to aspire to, where you can get to the point where other people's opinions of you, other people's words about who you are, do not make or break you, do not define who you are, do not belittle you, do not break your spirit. And I think those are some of the best people in the world, are the people who don't care what other people have to think about them. They're the freest people. They're the people who get things done because they're not afraid to go against the norm. They're not afraid to be called crazy. They're not afraid to show up fully with people. And so it all comes back to your thoughts and the power you give to those thoughts. And I implore you to do an exercise that I did, I don't know how many years ago now, almost 10. Take an inventory of your thoughts. Write down a piece of paper. If you've ever done cognitive behavioral therapy before, you probably recognize this exercise, but to the left column, so there are 3 columns, so the left will be the thought that you have. The next column will be, how did it make you feel? And the third column will be, how did those feelings make you act? And this goes for a lot of things, but just getting things out on paper and pencil, whatever your writing utensil. I don't care if you do it in gel pens. But just getting that out of your head and into that paper, that physical form, will help you really break down where your mental status is. And that reminds me of a training I was in. It kind of blew my mind a little bit when I first did it. But they asked, what are the top 3 or 5 thoughts that you have repeating in your head over and over and over? What are the thoughts that always come back to you? What are the thoughts that you could just be sitting around and all of a sudden you start thinking it to yourself? Right? What are those thoughts? And after we had all written down our thoughts, they took a poll and they asked, okay, how many of those thoughts of the 5 are positive, empowering thoughts? And I couldn't believe, for myself included, how many people said that the majority of their thoughts were not positive. And these are the thoughts that we're telling ourselves over and over and over again throughout our life. Now, if you are into quantum physics, or if you've ever seen the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, which is a great movie, we should all check that out. But they did a study, or maybe not a study, but like an exercise where they took water and they put it in environments where certain energies were. Negative energies, angry energies, sad energies, happy energies, joyous energies, loving energies. And they crystallized the water. And all of the energies that were negative, when they looked at those crystallizations, the patterns just looked very angry, chaotic. I don't know how else to describe it other than just violence. And if you look at the crystals that were made in loving environments and positive environments, they created the most beautiful crystallizations. And the real takeaway from that is our body, the majority of our body, is water. We are made up of water. And so if thoughts and feelings can do that to the water and the crystallizations, imagine what our thoughts and feelings can do to us. Do you want your body to perform under negative feelings and anger and disempowerment and violence? Or do you want your body to operate in a loving, happy, joyful, wondrous feeling? For myself, I want the happy. I want the joyous. I totally vote, positivity. Because imagine how amazing it would be to live in a world where we are all operating at our highest level. And that's 100% possible through us being intentional about the inputs that we have into our body, but also the outputs. How are we receiving the world, and how are we giving out into that world? Are we meeting anger with anger? Are we meeting negativity with more negativity? Are we meeting disempowerment with insults and just more of the same? Or are we really taking the time to fight all of that with positivity? And I'm not talking about toxic positivity, because I know that's a thing out there. But I'm talking about going out of your way to empower another person. Going out of your way to compliment someone. Going out of your way to put positive thoughts out there. To intentionally meditate. To pray for someone. We have a lot more influence in this world than we give ourselves credit for. And if you're ever, looking up podcasts or people to listen to, I would definitely check out Joe Dispenza. He tells the most amazing accounts of people who are healed through the power of people who have positive intentions towards that person healing. And the first time, I checked it out, I was like, this sounds like a bunch of woo-woo. But the more you hear about it, and the more occurrences that happen, you can't deny that positive thinking, powerful positive thinking, and all of us united together in that front can change people's lives, can change our lives, can change the world. So I just wanted to share this with you guys this week because I think if we all banded together and got more intentional, we could definitely do a lot with what we are given in this life. So that's all for today's episode of Break Through the Better, guys. Hope you found insights and inspiration from our discussion, and as we continue exploring life's lessons and tuning them into stepping stones for personal growth. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please spread the love and share it on your social media channels. Let's inspire others to also thrive for their betterment. Be sure to tag us and use the hashtag BreakThroughToBetter. Every share, every comment, every review helps us reach more people and make a wider impact. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, when we get better, the world gets better. So see you guys soon.